to another edition of Alex's Travels, and in this edition of Alex's Travels, we'll be traveling to Victoria, and for the first time on this edition of Alex's Travels, we'll be traveling by ferry. That's right, in this edition of Alex's Travels, we'll be traveling to Victoria and see what that city has to offer. So here we are on the Vancouver side, and let's go ahead and enter the ferry terminal. So we are inside of the ferry terminal. Here's one of the ferries that is arriving, and can't wait to get on board for the first time. So as we get on board onto the ferry, this is my first time being on this ship, this ferry that is. Don't think I've been on a ship or a boat that is this big, and it is pretty interesting to see how everything works. So the BC ferries, there's always a ferry coming in and out of Vancouver to Victoria and Victoria back to Vancouver every hour. Tickets are not expensive. They're like under $20. And as you can see you can also take your cars. There is also a bus from Vancouver that you can take that will be on the ferry and you can get out. But I decided to take an Uber from my hotel in Vancouver and hop on aboard this ferry. So as you can see, that's the ferry coming in, and this is the ferry that will come out to from Vancouver to Swartz Bay. Once you arrive at Swartz Bay, the Victoria side, there's like a 45-minute bus ride to the main actual city of Victoria. So this is a great day trip to Victoria from Vancouver. Let's go ahead and see what we have inside. This is my first time being inside of a ferry, and this is super exciting. As you can see, here we have lots of seatings. Here you have a children play area. Here you can find your men's washroom and a parents' room. And as we look around, here's the cafeteria. Looks like I'm gonna grab something to eat from this cafeteria. And here, these seats are a lot comfortable than the airline seats that you find on the airplane. So let's go up and head up to the second floor. There's multiple floors on this ferry. I believe the very, very first floor is where you park your cars if you plan to travel by car. This is the coastal celebration, and here's the main area. This also has a gift store. Pretty awesome. And as you can see, you have 4-row seating with a huge window looking out, and here you have lots of seats, so abundant amount of seats that you can sit anywhere you want, unlike an airplane. And like I said, this is the first time of me being on the ferry, and for this edition of Alex's Travels to Victoria, this is something different. Usually for my Alex's Travel series, we travel by plane, but for this edition, we travel by boat or the ferry. Here you have several arcade games. Pretty interesting to pass the time on this ferry ride. I really like this old school arcade game here. Insert coins. You don't see these type of these type of arcade games anymore. Yeah, as we look around here, that's out of order, unfortunately. But here you have Guitar Hero and other arcade games, and yeah. So the boat ride, the ferry ride from Vancouver to Victoria it's about an hour and 30 or 90 minutes. And let's go ahead and make most of our time here. You can grab something to eat from the cafeteria. And as we roam around, here's more of these luxury seatings. And you can always skip ahead. And here's the ferry that has departed. I believe that is the hour before this one departs. If you look at the website, it says it really recommends you arriving here before the hour. So lots of preparation. Here's the Coastal Cafe. You can grab a drink and get something to eat. Anyway, let's go ahead and see what we have here. I believe they have just the breakfast items. Here you have, basically the usual breakfast items. Just something I'm interested to indulge here. And you have pastries and all that stuff. Here is the dining area. Pretty huge dining area. Once you grab your food, you can sit here and enjoy the views. Here's the checkout area. And yeah, so here's the rear view where you can see cars still coming in on to this ferry. So we are outside of the ferry. It's pretty windy and cold. And here's the sunrise. Here's the other ferry coming in. And what a beautiful view this is. So we are back inside the ferry, and look at these majestic views going across from Vancouver to Victoria. You cannot beat the views of this one, my friends. And I wish we were outside, but it's pretty cold and windy, as you can see. But at least we're enjoying our breakfast here. And to be honest with you about the breakfast, it's not really that appetizing. It's just prison food, to be honest with you. And here I have my orange juice, toast, sausage, scrambled eggs, and potatoes. And yeah, and this beautiful view. So we are back outside here. Here's the rear of the ferry. And here we are arriving to our destination here. And here's what the top deck, what it looks like. And as you can see during the morning times, you can see the condensation. It's still on the deck, but the views here are unbeatable, something that I've never thought I'd experience while booking this trip to Victoria. Here you can also bring a pet, and they have a designated pet area, which is right here. You can also grab your breakfast or your food and take it outside under this canopy. And as we go on this side of the ferry, you can get a closer look at the beautiful scenery, the land. And there you can see the sun. And as we pan to our right, here's more of the island, and here is our destination in the distance. And you can see how we are waving to other passerbys. Such an amazing experience here. So here's a closer look at the ferry side on the Victoria side. And here we are first to get off, since you can see how people are just waiting to get off, getting in line just to get off. How I want to say jet bridge, but this is more of a ferry bridge. And now you can see how this lowers onto the ferry and you get to walk across that thing and into the terminal, just like a usual airport. Get off the ferry, we'll head straight in front of the ferry building, where we would have to wait for a bus that takes you straight to Victoria, which I believe is another 30 to 45-minute ride from the ferry to downtown. And yes, so here we are in front of the BC Ferry Swartz Bay Ferry Terminal, and let's go ahead and hop on the bus, which you have to pay a fare to downtown Victoria. So on our first stop on this beautiful Victoria day trip is we're gonna check out the British Columbia Parliament buildings. So here's the front entrance to the Parliament buildings, and what a magnificent building this is. And this is a must. You have to visit the Parliament buildings and to see what is inside. And this is a beautiful photography location here in Victoria. And if you happen to have time at night, this does light up at night in a beautiful way. Let's go ahead and go inside. So once you go through security, you have to be screened to go inside. Here's what the interior looks like. Here you can check out the artifacts, the Parliament building. They let you explore two floors. It was the first floor, and here's the upper floor. Really love the architecture inside this building, and you have lots of stories that needs to be known, such as the story of this artifact. And here is the upper rotunda, and this is an amazing place to be, and you can learn all about the history here in Victoria. This serves as a seat for British Columbia. Here's the coat of arms, and here's the current mace, and it serves as a parliament symbol. And as we walk around, you can learn more about the past mace and the black rod. So here's the Hall of Honors. You can get yourself a photo with the Canadian flag in British Columbia. And you can learn all the things that is historic here. And you can check out this stained glass here inside the Parliament buildings. So as we walk around, and you can go up to the second floor using the stairs, and it's not, this building that you're checking out is not really massive. It's really compact, especially if there's a lot of people checking out this building. That if you happen, like I mentioned, happen to find yourself in Victoria, this is a must to learn more about the government functions here inside Canada, British Columbia in general. So here are the hallways that you can check out, and you can check out past Parliament members. And here's the beautiful rotunda that we're about to go ahead and check out. Here's on this end of the hallways. And here we are looking out of a window towards the inner harbor and the Fairmont Hotel in the distance, and that is where we started. And here are some memorabilia here, and that's how you call it, some mementos on display. And yeah, so let's go ahead and check out the rotunda that is the heart of the Parliament building, and appreciate the aesthetics that is inside this building. Here on the very top, you can check out the murals that are painted. Each mural tells the story here. Here's the Canadian flag. And such a wonderful place. And here's the look at the first floor, the bottom floor that where we started. And here is the assembly hall in the distance. And here's a closer look at the murals here. Like I mentioned, each mural tells a story, and this talks about, which I believe depicts agriculture, the way that makes this place what we know today. And here's a view. Yeah, you can look outside. Here's the same fountain in the inner harbor where we started our travel here. And yeah, such an amazing place. And on this part of the Parliament building here is a look at a view of the Assembly Hall, the Legislative Assembly Hall, where all government decisions are being made, and you can actually book a tour with a tour guide to learn more about this place.
Opposition is the Conservative Party in BC. The third party is the Green Party. The fourth party is one BC, sort of like a right-wing party. And then we have one independent. Yes, I'd say more left-leaning than the opposition. I think it's difficult sometimes to manage. I think like American have a very polarized.
And here's a closer look on the inside of the Assembly Hall. And here you can see where British Columbia's government elected officials would sit. And here's the upper view and the entire view. And here's the mace that sits in the middle. So here we are at the end. Here you can also check out the gift shop and pick up a postcard. So that is British Columbia's Parliament buildings here. And I really recommend checking this place out if you find yourself in Victoria. So our next stop is the Royal BC Museum, but unfortunately there is a walkout and we cannot go inside. But, not far away from the Parliament buildings, you can take a photo of the Fairmont Empress. This is an iconic hotel. And on the side of this iconic hotel is Miniature World. So if you like all things miniature, I really highly suggest taking a look at this place out. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we have inside the greatest little show on earth. So here's Miniature World, the greatest little show on earth. And of course you would have to pay an admission fee. But for me, as a miniature fan myself, let's go ahead and see what this place has to offer. So after paying a fee, let's go ahead and see what this place is about. First off, we start off in a dim hallway. Not sure what this is, but to me this looks some space age, sci-fi space age. And once we go out of that, here is more of a miniature dioramas. I believe this is during World War One or World War Two, and you can see all the tanks and the minifigures here on full display. And I believe this is the U.S. Revolutionary War. And here are some model aircrafts. And yeah, so really like how detailed these dioramas are. And here, really like the destruction and how detailed these scaled down figures are. This landing is part of the concerted United Nations plan for liberation of Europe. D-Day plus one. Here we have a cannon. And here you have some soldiers on display. And here what it appears to be a small town in the United States. And here's my favorite, the train models that go around the dioramas.
And the snow on the mountains. That's interesting because the little towns are right there where the train came through, you know? The last time. This was the big railway. Now see, I don't know about the boys, but see, this is what's
really like the atmosphere that is being depicted here.
Well, we should have a chance to go on a train with us. Here it comes.
And here's the last spike that was in place for the Continental Railroad. And this does have the night and day feature. So there's more to this. I believe this is Toronto, and really like how this trolley or the streetcar just makes lap around Toronto during 1915. And this is depicted to be close to the CN Tower. And you can notice how this is dimmed and how the night lights come on. Pretty cool to check out. So here we have more dioramas. Here you can see the Wild Wild West, as you can see there. Reminds me of Red Dead Redemption. And here are more Red Dead vibes. Reminds me of Valentine, a city that is in the video game Red Dead Redemption. And this is one of my favorites, is what appears to be a classical car meet. Here you have vintage scaled model cars. And you also have scale model airplanes. And here's one of my favorites, is Not sure how to call this thing that's really cool to check out. Gotta see for yourself.
Wouldn't it be nice to have a secret mine like this in your backyard?
Really like this. Really like how everything is set up here. Some fantasy world.
With such a vast reservoir of information on the happenings of that day, was writing his Peeps diary in London in the 1660s.
And here's one of my favorites, is the model diorama. You can learn more about this diorama, but this what appears to be in London, England. And you can see all the double-decker buses here and the buildings that are made in this display. And I believe that is Buckingham Palace. And yeah, so really enjoyed checking out one of these dioramas. And if you're a huge miniature fan, like die-cast cars or Hot Wheels, this is a place to be. So here's more of the dioramas. And here we have a bigger scale modeled house and some rooms. Here I have a couple of rooms in here. This reminds me of the Chicago's Art Museum, which has a similar display. And yeah. And here's more of these dioramas with the sun that is rising. Here you have the mountains. And this is one of my favorites here. Here you have these buildings and a parade that is going on. And what a way to end this diorama tour inside the Miniature World Museum. And you have this circus that is going on with a look on the inside. And here you have this fairgrounds that is taking place.
The biggest tent to hold the stunning and spectacular performances was the Big Top. The Ringling Brothers introduced the first three-ring circus in 1881, setting a pattern for years to come. Each ring would feature 60.
And here you can check out more of the dioramas in the medieval times.
There have been varying interpretations of the legend, but most have had one thing in common. Arthur and Camelot represented a world that was idyllic, with the honorable and wise Arthur ruling over his peaceful realm of Camelot.
Here's the round table,
Our
and
exhibit showcases our own interpretation
yeah,
of the legend.
so more of a medieval
As we tell the story
setting
in
here.
dioramas depicting various people and events that shape the legend.
And really like this castle.
In the beginning, there was a sword thrust deep into a large stone in the village square. It had been declared that whoever could pull the sword from the stone would be king of all Britain. Knights had come from far and wide to claim their rightful place as king, only to fail. For many years, it remained.
And yeah, so that is it.
Then one day, a young squire grasped the sword.
So that is Miniature World on the side of the Empress Hotel. So that is the view from the Parliament buildings, and let's go ahead and explore downtown Victoria. So look at this beautiful street. This is Government Street, and it is the main street for downtown Victoria. Here you have the general store, and let's go ahead and explore more stores down the street. So on this street, which is closed off for pedestrians, here, let's go ahead and explore Munro's Books of Victoria. So here's the entrance to Munro's Books. Here you can see that this is a historic building, and let's go ahead and see what we have inside. You can see, of course, they sell books and more, but just look around you how this was restored to what we are looking at right now. Here we have some bookshelves. And just looking up, how you can see there are different types of murals inside this bookstore. So that is Munro's Books of Victoria. And let's go ahead and check out this famous tea spot, which is called Murchie's Fine Tea and Coffee. So let's go ahead and take a look inside of what is Murchie's Fine Tea and Coffee. If you are ever in Victoria, this is a must visit here, since Victoria is known for its tea. You know how British Columbia, in particular to Victoria, was settled by the British. It used to be a colony for the British. And here you have the iconic tea grannies. After looking at them a while, they sure do creep you out after a while. So here are all the famous teas that you can check out, and as we walk further into this tea shop, and see all kinds of things that you can actually buy. Here you have choice teas, tea and coffee gift packs, some hot chocolate, select tea bags, and more. This would be a great set for anyone that likes tea. Here is a really decorative tea. Here you can also pick up some postcards or some mementos. Here we have some biscuits and cookies. And here, this is a great place to grab a cup of tea. You can order yourself some tea and all that stuff from this counter. And you can also get yourself a strawberry shortcake or a chocolate cake. You get these fun pastries. We'll grab something like a quick bite. And yeah. So that is the tea shop. Here is a tobacco store. And here, right across the street, is the Bay Center, a huge shopping mall here in Victoria. So let's go ahead and see what Bay Center has to offer. So we are inside the Bay Center. Bay Center is an indoor shopping mall. It has 80 plus stores. Here we are at one of the kiosks, and here you can see these fine china on display. And yeah, so this is a great place to be inside, to be indoors, in case if outside happens to be hot, which it usually does for this time of year. And look at the skylight that penetrates down to the first floor, and this has 3 levels of shopping inside the Bay Center. And here you have this clock. So here's the 3 levels of stores. Here you have Hudson's Bay, and you have this wonderful clock that is being suspended out in the horizon. Here, if you can make it out, it said Victoria's Eaton Center. And here we are on the top floor, the 3rd level, which is home to the food court. So, being a huge mall lover, I believe this is a dead mall in my eyes.
I haven't been since, I think.
So here is Market Square in downtown Victoria, so just down in the distance. Let's go ahead and check out Market Square. So Market Square is known for its beautiful decorative storefronts, which we are about to check out. And yeah, so look how beautiful these buildings are. Box building, and a lot more. Something that would be a great stroll here in Market Square. So we are inside Market Square, and here's what we have in Market Square. Just several restaurants. Not too busy, to be honest with you, but yeah. And here you have these fine boutique shops that is located inside Market Square here in downtown Victoria. So here we are in Victoria's Chinatown, the historic district in Victoria. Here's the Chinatown gate, and we're gonna go through Chinatown. And Vancouver also has a Chinatown, but I believe this Chinatown is better than Vancouver. So here we are. Here's the gate, the Chinatown gate that you typically see in other, like any other Chinatowns. Is the gate of harmonious interests. We're starting our walk here at the Gate of Harmonious Interest. It's a symbolic entrance to Canada's oldest Chinatown, a neighborhood that's in the beating heart of Victoria's Chinese Canadian community for over 160 years. It just amazes me how there are two Chinatowns and two of these communities that are close together but also far apart, divided by the body of water, and you have to take a 90-minute ferry to here. But back to what I'm saying here, Chinatown is home of these Chinese cuisine and restaurants as we walk through. You can see why this area is a National Historic Site, is beautifully preserved collection of brick buildings, but closer at the detailed letter temple-style roofs. This was the primary gateway for Chinese immigrants arriving on the West Coast in the mid-1800s during the Gold Rush. And like I said, history is no different than San Francisco's Chinatown or LA's Chinatown. Here we're going to go ahead and check out Fountain Alley. One of the highlights here is checking out Fountain Alley, the nearest alley in Canada. Here we have several tour buses that are going around making their tours. Here you can also visit these boutique shops. Here we have a seafood restaurant. Whether you're here for the history, the architecture, or just a good meal, Victoria's Chinatown is a must-do, a must-visit destination. It's small in its size, but it holds some of the deepest stories in the country. And I believe, having visited Vancouver's Chinatown and this Chinatown, I believe this Chinatown is better in terms of being able to, you have lots of options to choose from it in this Chinatown compared to Vancouver's Chinatown. Vancouver's Chinatown seems like a kind of like LA's Chinatown, where it's mostly dead, not that active of a Chinatown that you know in San Francisco's Chinatown. But here you can also check out Pimple and have some pizza and Pimple. If you watch Vancouver's Chinatown on Alex's Adventure series, you can definitely understand what I'm talking about. This Chinatown here is full of tourists, as you can see, we just saw a tour bus that went through here. And as you can see, there are many things to visit and check out here in Chinatown. So, like I mentioned, it's now home to a vibrant boutiques, local artisans, and some of the best spots to grab dim sum or bubble tea in the city. It's a perfect blend of old and new. A place that honors a tough, resilient past while continuing to evolve as a cultural hub for Victoria. So, here we are, Theatre Alley Union. There's some popular restaurants here, and really like the signage here, Don Me. So we're just right across from Fountain Alley. We're about to enter Fountain Alley. Here's the temple-like architecture that you see on these historic buildings. And here's the heart of Chinatown, Fountain Alley, which is home to Victoria's Chinatown Museum. It is this alley, Fountain Alley, is officially Canada's narrowest street, and at its skinniest point, it's less than a meter wide. So I'm recording in a wide angle view. If I were to record in a normal view, it is super tight in here. Back in the day, this place was a labyrinth of activity. It wasn't just shops, as you can see now. These walls held opium dens, secret gambling parlors, and tight-knit living quarters. Those trapdoors and lock gates you see, though they weren't for decor, they were built to slow down the police during raids. So lots of history here in Fantan Alley. And you can also check out these cool boutiques. Makes you think about step you back in history of how active this was with all the opium going on. And this reminds me of the alley in San Francisco's Chinatown. Same history, same background. Here you can check out Turntable, and here's Victoria's Chinatown Museum. Unfortunately, Victoria's Chinatown Museum isn't open. Yeah, so if you happen to find yourself in Victoria, I really recommend checking these places out that we've been through in this video. The Parliament buildings, the miniatures, if you're into miniature world, at the Empress Fairmont. Walk up Government Avenue, Government Street, and check out all of the tea stores and some boutiques, and Market Plaza, and this one, Victoria's Chinatown. So these buildings, these historic buildings, that is, hold lots of histories, as you can see on the info boards or graphics that we just saw there. And I really recommend this bake shop, this bakery, Filipino-owned bakery. They really do make the best buns. And yeah, so that is Victoria's Chinatown. You can also ride a bike and ride through here. And here are more of the stores. Yeah, so this is a bike-friendly area here in Chinatown. And that's where we began our adventure. So we are back at the Chinatown gate. Hopefully you enjoyed this walkthrough tour of Victoria's Chinatown. And yeah. And such an interesting place to check out this part of Victoria. And if you happen, if you can grab a tour, I really recommend grabbing a West Coast tour. Our last stop for this day trip in Victoria is Fisherman's Wharf. This is a short walk from the Inner Harbor and the Parliament buildings. Let's go ahead and see what Victoria's Fisherman's Wharf has to offer. So, welcome to Fisherman's Wharf. It is a small fisherman's wharf here in Victoria, and there is a lot to see actually here in Fisherman's Wharf. Fisherman's Wharf is a vibrant must-visit destination in Victoria, known for its lively, colorful atmosphere and working harbor setting. Located just a short scenic walk from the inner harbor, it serves as a unique community hub where you can watch fishing vessels, admire float homes that we're about to see, and you can catch a sight of local wildlife like the harbor seals. So this is the heart of the area, a working marine destination that balances its industrial roots with tourist-friendly amenities. It is a fantastic place to spend an hour or two soaking in the maritime culture. So you'll find a variety of casual and seasonal food stands offering from fresh caught seafood to fish and chips and a lot more. This is situated, the wharf is a departure point for many eco tours, including whale watching, fishing charters, and kayaking excursion. And the rows of brightly painted float homes are iconic, and the lively energy, especially on sunny days, makes it a perfect spot for people watching and photography. And yes, so you can actually stay in one of these float homes that we're about to check out here. And this is a great way to end the day trip here in Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. And I wonder how much a night to stay in one of these float homes. And this is one of my favorite float homes, how it is like a A-shaped cabin. And yeah, so pretty cool place to check out. Really love the water taxi that just dropped people off here. And this is a pretty amazing place to hang out with the sun that is about to set. So this is golden hour, and this is a great place to take some photos wherever you want to take photos here. Really like the vibrant colors during this golden hour. And here you can see many of these food stands or food kiosks, however you want to say. Here we have Victoria in the background. And here's one of the tours that you can do. Here's the map of Victoria in the inner harbor. And yeah, so just a short walk from the Parliament buildings here on Fisherman's Wharf. So that will do it for this edition of Alex's Travels. Hope you enjoyed my day trip voyage to Victoria. If you like this trip, please give this video a super huge thumbs up. Comment in the comment section below on what you think about Victoria. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Be sure to check out my other YouTube content on this channel. And thank you for watching Alex's Travels, and I'll see you all next one.